Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I appreciate you joining me for today. So today we're going to be talking about frost and protecting your plants from a frost. Now, we all know it's going to eventually freeze. We all know we're going to have those temperatures pretty much everywhere you live. It gets to below freezing temperatures and your animals are going to die back. Um, Even though this happens all the time, it doesn't always happen at the most opportune time, exactly when you're going to expect it. So here in San Antonio, Texas, we already had our first freeze. And the issues that we have here a lot of times is that in the beginning, let's say in December timeframe, we'll have a good freeze, but then we have a good month or so where we have beautiful temperatures. We've had it back in the 70s almost every day for like a good 3 weeks. What happens when that does, when that happens, is that you'll have your fruit trees will start to basically start budding out. You'll have all of your green growth starting to come back. The plant comes out of hibernation. It's a very short hibernation, but it comes out of that. And then if you have another frost happen after the fact, then it'll actually kill all those buds. What happened last year is my peach and my mulberry trees, and even my neighbor's mulberry tree, which is absolutely huge, we had another frost come in either January or February. I think it was the beginning of January, about the same time now. But the trees had already started budding out. We already had fruit buds on my peach trees. I already had my new leaves coming out on multiple of my trees. They thought that the winter was done. And then when it came and froze everything back again, all of those little growth died. I actually lost a lot of branches on this tree because it came out of hibernation. It thought it was springtime. So now I need to protect all of my plants again because that's what's happened again. It has it is not it has been about 3 weeks or so since our last frost, and it was not supposed to, well, at least the plants thought it was not supposed to again because it's been really nice and sunny weather. But we're going to now get a stretch of like 4 or 5 days we're going to have below freezing temperatures, and I need to protect my plants because of that. Now, if you've been around my channel, you watch, you probably notice I like to do things as cheap and free as possible. So I'm going to be showing you today how I'm going to be protecting my plants, how you then can protect yours if needed, to try to make sure that your plants can survive the frost. And I've even got some carrots that I'm planting here. I'll be having a video on this soon that I've actually been protecting every time it gets a little bit too cold. And that'd be the same situation here, growing carrots actually through our winter. And so I do have to protect them as well. You can see here is a good example of the neighbor's tree. We actually have nice pink blossoms coming out. Again, we're going to have a freeze soon. Those blossoms are going to get very unhappy. So what I've been doing for my carrots and what you see I have here, I actually have some flowers here and here that I actually have planted. And so these are actual perennial flowers. And so you don't actually need to cover perennial flowers. The reason why I am is because they actually have new growth growing as well. It was warm long enough that they actually started growing back. They're getting green. We actually have blossoms and small little flowers already growing on these two flowers here because they thought the frost was done as well. Well, of course it's not. We have our carrots here, which also cannot deal with a bad frost. So what I've been doing for these is just using a blanket. I mean, not a blanket, a towel. I've got these old towels. Once we bought new towels a while back, I kept all of our towels that I had, and I'm just going to use hooks here to make sure they stay in the ground, just normal garden hooks. But I kept all the towels in case I ever needed them. They've been coming in very handy. I've already had to cover these carrots a few times, just like that, and we're good. Didn't have to buy anything, already had it completely free, and it works perfectly. Moving on to my mulberry bushes here, these also have new green growth started. These did not need to be covered when I had my first frost. When that happened, the plant is expecting that basically, so you're fine. You let it go through a first frost, these can deal with freezing temperatures with no issues. So that's perfectly fine. We let that go. But now we actually have new green growth growing. We don't want all that to die back and the plant to go into a shock, so now I have to cover it again. Now this right here might look like some fancy um, greenhouse covering or anything like that. It's not. This is literally from painting. We repainted my daughter's room, made it nice and pink for her. And that's all this is. This is like $2 from Home Depot. We already had in the garage. We saved for any future painting. That's all this is the painter's, it's not a cloth, but plastic that you put down so you don't get your floor dirty. And all I did was take painter's tape and taped it all up nicely. It'll do a perfect job to protect the plants, and again, free. So if you look right here, we have all this new growth starting to come on these. This one doesn't have as much new growth as the other one, but we still do have new growth. We actually have where you're going to have some of the berries popping out here on a lot of these areas on the tree. New growth coming out here. It is not expecting a frost, so this frost will actually come and kill all this new growth and make it a lot more difficult for this plant to do well during the spring and then summer. And then we have something like our lettuce here. Now I could bring this inside, but it's quite heavy, and I do have potted plants that I'm bringing inside, which is easy. But I've already done this a few different times, and it actually, again, works perfectly fine. I have my lettuce here growing. I'll have a video coming out on this as well, on how to do this. And so all I'm doing here is covering it with my towel. Another, again, free because we already had it, towel. We're just going to pin it underneath here so that it does not blow away in any wind. And voila, we now have our lettuce protected as well. And here I have my indoor garden. So right now, this is where I have my seeds that have been starting for the spring, tomatoes, peppers, and onions that I'll eventually transplant into the garden. I've also got some succulents and just some other plants that I just enjoy growing, that it's too cold for them outside. And so they stay inside my indoor garden here for the winter months. And I might end up doing a video on this setup at some point. Let me know if you're interested in that. And then around here, around next to you here and behind this, I actually have some more potted plants that I bring in when it gets too cold. Aloe vera growing, the jade plant, donkey tail, some more lettuce, and a fig, and aloe vera, and some more cuttings from some more plants. Thank you very much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. I hope you found some of this information useful and helpful to you. And if you have any questions, any comments, anything that you can add to this at all, please comment below. If you haven't yet, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I really would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a great day.